Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters and all the radiators of love out there? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology horoscope for Tuesday, November 12th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I'm trusting you guys are having a wonderful day. Let's go ahead and hop into it to see what we have going on for today with the planets, the stars, the celestial bodies. Well, we are going to see that moon shift into Aries today, definitely bringing about some spice to the day. But of course, with that Mars over there in Leo too, as they make a trine to start the day here, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do feel like this is going to bring up temper tantrums. Of course, I've been talking about how temper tantrums is a characteristic of Mars in Cancer. But of course, now at the moon here in Aries, we're going to be reacting, responding more in an Aries like fashion. So people can be definitely a lot more impulsive, a little bit more fired up, and it may not take much to set people off emotionally on this day. Especially with the trine over to Mars and Leo, if people feel like they are fighting for something that is true to them and their hearts and what they really believe in and stuff, then it definitely could take on a deeper element, right? So, I think today does bring a little bit of the positive energy, though, overall, if we can take that moon in Aries and that Mars in Leo and use it to inspire us and motivate us to create something beautiful and to create something that's much more constructive. Though we have to remind ourselves that this Mars is moving slow in Leo, so it's like Mars doesn't quite have all the firepower that it wants because it's not moving super fast. This is like, it's it being in Leo. It's like it's unfortunately bringing like a Ford Mustang to a race with Lamborghinis. That's kind of where Mars and Leo is. And Mars and Leo can definitely be very prideful of their Mustang and very, like, even braggadocious about it. And maybe they souped it up with all the, you know, necessary upgrades, but it's still going to lose to even just a base level Lamborghini. That's kind of what Mars and Leo moving at this pace is. And with the moon in Aries, it's like, man, I did all this stuff and put all this stuff into it. It just does not seem like it's working. It doesn't seem like, you know, why isn't this working? And I think people can feel like that. I think people can feel like they put their all into something or a lot into something, and maybe it's just not quite working. Well, like I said, we have to remind ourselves that Saturn, here in Pisces is 12 degrees, moving very slow, right? So time is like kind of slow to a crawl, if you will. We have to remind ourselves of that. We have to remind ourselves that now, of course, we have Neptune here at the end of Pisces too, so things can definitely feel like they are just on edge. Uranus here in Taurus, things can feel like they're on edge. Jupiter retrograde in Gemini can feel like, we're trying to expand in our life, and really that does feel like a little bit more of a contraction, if you will. Or even maybe we feel like there is information that's being withheld and hidden from us, because of course Gemini does rule, information and stuff. The ruler of Gemini, of course, Mercury here at 12 degrees of Sag. We have to remind ourselves that Mercury is going to retrograde here in Sag here soon. So that's the thing about this. We're about to see some planets start to slow. Some planets are about to come online, but some planets are also going to slow down, right? So, of course, Venus here freshly into Capricorn here at 0 degrees. And, as the day progresses, we're going to just see that moon is going to come on top of the north node here at 5 degrees, right? So, like I said, this could be a moment where we can feel inspired to step more into who we really are and step more into our authenticity and to be inspired from that place and to really move forward and stuff. This can definitely give us some nice energy. Of course, we do have the sun here at 20 degrees of Scorpio, right? So it's entering into that final decan of Scorpio. And the final decan of Scorpio is co-ruled by the moon. So and that's why I use this particular chart, right? It shows, of course, if you want to know the ruler of each sign, it's the first decan, right? And then the second decan, there's co-rulers within each, sign for the first 10 degrees, 20, 30 degrees, right? So the second 20 degrees is always the next element, right? So what's not the next element, but the next ruling planet of the same element. So that's going to be what? Neptune, Pisces. And then what? We have the moon, Cancer, right? So it's kind of important to also look at that aspect when it comes to these planets to see what other planets are influencing, right? So with the sun now moving into that third decan of Scorpio, which is ruled by the moon, we kind of want to see how is this being affected by the moon. Well, now that we have the moon, of course, over here in Aries, it can definitely fire things up. In third decan Scorpio suns, I am one by myself. I'm 24-degree, Scorpio sun, right? Not by myself, but I am one myself. These are individuals. It's interesting because the moon does fall in Scorpio, right? But it does bring, these are usually individuals that are deeply intuitive, pretty intuitive, and are in touch with their emotions from a very early age. And they're like the magnetic healers of the zodiac, right? First decan Scorpios, first decan of really any sign is sort of like the stereotype, like that they carry the stereotypes of that sign, but can be very premature in a sense when it comes to aspects of their sign. So that's the interesting thing about that. Now second decan of Scorpio, which is ruled by Neptune, these are the dreamers of the zodiac. That's where we just got out of. These are the dreamers of Scorpio. These are the ones that usually go on to, create businesses and stuff like that. Not that first decan Scorpios can't or third decans can't, but generally, those second decan Scorpios are the big dreamers of the zodiac, and they take that and they take it with like they're much more business minded. The third decan Scorpios, these are the Scorpios that have been through the emotional roller coasters of life, and they're very in tune with their emotions, and thus they have a tendency to love attract individuals into their life that need healing, whether they intend to do so or they not intend to do so, right? So this can be, now that the sun's shifting into this decan, everyone's going to experience what it's like to be a third decan Scorpio, and what it's like to kind of be much more in touch with your emotions, a little bit more in tune with your emotions. But if you are running away from those things, then that's when things can get a little bit spicy, especially with the moon that's going to be in Aries with the North Node. That's the thing about this. You have to be able to acknowledge the way that you feel, but at the same time, you don't want to put so much stock into it that you forget about what you need to do. You don't want to just use them as an excuse to why you can't do certain things or move certain needles in your life. That's the thing about this. There has to be some give and take and some balance to this, if you will, right? But as we see through kind of just moving throughout the day, we're going to see that moon. I think it's not going to quite get to a trine with Mercury at 13 degrees. Not quite get there. But, we're not going to really see a ton more happen on this day in particular. I mean, we do still have the sextile between Jupiter and Chiron that's been going on, right? And once we get to the tail end of the day, that moon here at 13 degrees does start to trine Mercury. It's going to be going more into a Wednesday aspect, but we will start to see that energy as well, right? And Mercury, of course, it's in detriment in Sagittarius, right? So, because Mercury much rather be with the people and getting the scoop and getting the information, but when it's in Jupiter, it's having to, in many ways, present that information, especially considering the fact that it would normally present this information to the king or to Jupiter or to whomever, right? To the boss, the emperor, right? And Mercury has to do that part of its job, but I'd much rather be out and about, moving around and stuff. And look, Mercury just got out of the underworld in Scorpio. And we forget that Mercury is one of the, we gotta forget, in just a traditional mythology and stuff like that. Hermes was one of the few gods that could go to the underworld and then just dip out of the underworld at the same time, right? And was able to go to go to that darker place, go to that deeper place, and be able to actually go back up to the heavens. And we kind of forget that, right? So Mercury right now, here in Sagittarius, delivering the message or presenting the message as well, right? And that's where Mercury kind of that's not a great communicator, but this is about these bigger ideas, these bigger visions, if you will, and, about these bigger philosophies and stuff. But those things are theories and philosophies and different things. Does not necessarily facts to them. There can be some facts in there and there can be some truths, but it's a lot of hypothesizing, right? So with this moon here in Aries, we're reacting, responding more to Aries like they, more to our character, to the way that we act, our impulses, if you will, even our more carnal natures and aspects. A trine over the Mercury does give us an opportunity to kind of harmonize with these our philosophies and our beliefs as well. But at the same time, if we are overly identifying with those beliefs, if you will, if those ideas and those visions and those ideals, if we're overly identifying with them and then we find information or something that comes up against that and we react in a volatile way, it's not really going to lead us down a path of expansion and of enlightenment, if you will. So that's the thing that we have to consider with this. This can be an opportunity for us to, I guess some people are going to say, is speak their truth, right? But Sagittarius isn't truth. Sagittarius isn't facts. That's Gemini, right? So people are going to be more so speaking their beliefs and their ideals. And there's nothing wrong with that, if you will. But we also have to be willing to hold those beliefs and those ideals and those hypotheses and be able to put them under the magnifying glass to see if it can still hold up to the light and the truth of the day, right? So I think Tuesday can certainly be an interesting day. It's going to be a little bit more, Monday is going to be a little bit more of a drag. People are going to definitely be feeling a lot more energy on this Tuesday. So just be prepared to see that. But like I said, it's going to kind of feel like I said, a bit of a wet paper bag run, bit of a, you try to, like I said, you're in a Mustang and you're racing against Lamborghinis. Like, it's like you may have all this energy and all this bravado and all this sort of stuff, but then when it comes to actually like engaging and like putting your foot to the pedal, it's may not necessarily have the firepower that you want. What do you do in those situations? Do you allow yourself to get frustrated, right? Or do you just acknowledge it for what it is? Do you do something about it? Do you make a change if you need to? Do you embrace where you are in the moment? Do you look forward to the future? Do you allow maybe a perceived failure to actually inspire you instead of for you to just mope in the misery of it, right? I have the Five of Coins. Yeah, I will say be careful of feeling like you're on the outside looking in. Be careful of feeling the misery. Be careful of feeling like you don't fall into the victimhood. I think that this can be a day where people use their voice in a way and try to say something, not necessarily say something, but they're going to use a voice in a way to convey the message that they are more confident than they actually are, when really this is what they're feeling. They're feeling a little bit left out. They're feeling a little bit shunned. They're feeling like they're not a part of something. And I think, like I said, this comes down to, don't ostracize yourself, right, from the warmth. Don't ostracize yourself from the love just because you may not see fully eye to eye with someone or a group of people. I'm going to draw another card too. Yep, so we have the Ace of Swords. Two cards actually came out. I had the Ace of Swords and I actually have the full card in reverse. So yeah, this lets me know that truth is going to reign supreme. And honestly, this is one of those things where facts don't care about your feelings. We're going to have a lot of fools out there that are going to be playing the victim card, and they are going to be, spewing their ideals from the rooftops, and it's going to fall on deaf ears, or they're not going to have the crowd that they really want. So you don't want to be that individual. Truth is going to reign supreme, and it is sort of like I hate to say it, but it is one of those facts don't care about your feelings kind of deal. So that's going to do it for your astrology reading this Tuesday, November 12th. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey today. If you did enjoy this video, I definitely would appreciate it if you like this video, you share it with your friends and your family, and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. But y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all on the next video. Peace.